Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tuscany and today we're going to jump right into finishing an 1890 skirt. So let's get into it. So if you watched my previous video, that video was all about making the mock-up for the 1890 skirt, and now I'm ready to delve right into making the final 1890 skirt. I did pop by the fabric store and pick up my fabric. It's a beautiful plaid because I can't help myself. And I did wash it last night. I half dried it, but it is 4 yards of fabric, so I ended up having to drape it over my bed so that it could dry the rest of the way. Now, a quick note on this fabric, which is awesome, is that it is woven and the pattern is actually woven into the fabric instead of being printed on top of the fabric. So the wonderful thing about this is that the pattern is on grain, which will help me and my cutting a whole bunch. So the fabric is ready to go, ready to be packed up and taken to my sister's. I decided that I wanted to cut everything there because there's space to do so. Like I said, there's 4 yards of fabric and it's just not easy to do it in my little hobbit hole. So we're gonna head over there today, hang out with the kittens and get some fabric cut. But if you want to try my new cutting scissors, they're the ones up there, and supposedly they're good. Okay, I got them for free. Hi. Alright, so I am back home. Everything's cut out. So much easier to do it at my sister's place. It's nice to have room to actually work. So now everything's cut out and ready to go. I'm going to do a quick serge along the edges of each piece because this is a woven fabric, so it does fray pretty easily, and I want to be as secure as I possibly can in that. And once I have all of those sides, which is going to take me a decade to get those done, then I can start putting it together. In other news, I dug out all our Halloween stuff and I get to start decorating. I'm so excited, and obviously I am in the mood for autumn even though it's supposed to be like 80 degrees out today. So I got a little hot in my sweater and needed to change. But I got every piece cleaned up around the edges, and now I'm going to go ahead and just sew them together. It's a pretty quick and easy process. For the lining, I decided to go with my mock-up fabric, and that's mainly because I am lazy and I am cheap. So basically, my mock-up is already done. I can just flip that inside out and pin it to the final fabric when I have that put together. And everything should go pretty well. Hopefully, I think. So the skirt is very close to being done, which is shocking. Final details usually take me way longer than they should because I procrastinate. And I once again forgot pockets. But that doesn't really bother me so much because I actually have been enjoying the process of just sewing the seam and then go back and taking out exactly what I want to take out. For some reason, it's actually been like cleaner and an easier process for me. I have no idea why. So I get to go and do that, and then a waistband, and then the lining. And when I put it that way, it seems like I actually have a few more things to do. Oh, and the closure. Dang it. Oh, and I have to iron it before I do all of that. Okay. So I decided just to go in and add the pockets real quick. Yes, I did that in the lining fabric because I felt like it. And now I'm going to go ahead and iron down all the seams and iron those flat. And then I'll work on the hem. After that, I can start on the lining. There is something so satisfying about a nicely pressed seam. Ow. I have pretty much every single pin I own along the bottom hem, and every time I walk they keep poking me. But I have the lining in the outer fabric and I'm ready to hand stitch that. I'm pretty sure the skirt weighs about 10 pounds. I kind of want to weigh it because it is so heavy, but in like a really satisfying way, like a weighted blanket kind of satisfying. And I don't have a waistband on it yet. I kind of have to stick my tummy out and slouch so that it keeps the skirt up. So I think it'll look a lot nicer once I get the waistband on. As for the pockets, I'm really happy with the pockets. They look good, but I think I'm going to add like a little panel in front just to kind of cover up that lighter fabric. But I also kind of like being able to see the lighter fabric. It's like a surprise. I don't know. I'll probably cover it up. So at this point, I just need to hand sew that hem and then get the waistband on. And then hand sew the closures. But besides that, it's pretty close to done. I think I'll be able to get this project done within a week, which is just absurd. Alright, I have the waistband pinned to the skirt. As you can see, it is very thick. So I think the best way to go forward with this is just to hand sew it. I'm worried about putting this through my machine. I'm a little protective over it. So I'm going to go ahead and hand sew that portion of it. And I'm debating on maybe using another strip of fabric to cover these raw edges, because I think it's just too thick to be able to turn it over. So we will see. Hello, it's morning. It's very early. I don't know why I'm up, but I am. So I'm going to get back to work on the skirt. I have the waistband on, which took forever. It was so thick that I couldn't even do like a running stitch. I just had to go one side, other side, when it was long. It was long. So now I get to basically fill down that seam, and then I think I get to move on to hook and eyes. So the rest of this project is just hand sewing, which isn't terrible, but I've gotten to the point in the project where I'm just so close to done that I'm kind of done with it. But I think I'm going to go ahead and watch Rachel Maksy's new video. It looks great. Apparently she turns herself into a pumpkin lady, and it looks fantastic. So I'm pretty excited to sit down and watch that. Get the waistband felled down, or the seam for the waistband felled down, and then get to work on some hook and eyes. Ugh. Nah. lie to you, I sort of hate it. Alright, so I have the placement for the hook and eyes. I originally started with doing an inch in between each, but that meant that I would have 12 closures, and that just seemed honestly a little excessive. So I bumped it up to an inch and a half between each, and so that means I now have 8 closures, which looks pretty good, and I think that will be plenty. All right, I have a few thoughts. I think I have 4 sets of hook and eyes in. I got all the hooks in first and then started working on the eyes. I decided to try the skirt on and see how I liked it, and I'm not really happy with the hook and eyes. Part of it is it's just the nature of hooks and eyes. They suck, personally. So I think I want to change it, which sucks because it's a lot of work and I already put so much work into it, but it's not doing what I want it to do, and that's just the nature of the thing. Now the problem is I don't know what I want to change it to. I don't want to put a zipper in because that would look horrid, and I think like just a part of my soul would die if I put a zipper in on this. But I need to figure out what I actually want to do with it. So I'm gonna take some time away from the project, probably get some house stuff done. It is so warm and so heavy. It's just so satisfying. So I guess I gotta take these out and move on. Oh man, I am sweaty from putting that on. Just another quick little tidbit. I looked at the hooks and eyes and I looked at the footage of me wearing the skirt, and I realized that I should have put the hooks and eyes closer together. I should have stuck with the inch apart or even closer than that. But to be honest, it's not even like the idea of sewing it, which sounds horrible, but it's the idea of trying to get myself into a garment that has that many closures, and this is something that I want to wear often in the winter. So I want something that I can easily get into and can easily get on, and I just don't think that's going to be it. So I know that the spacing for those closures is not good. I should have put them closer together. I understand, but I don't want to. So there. Alright, so I have that inside panel attached, so I'm going to go ahead and stitch that in by hand, and you're not really going to see this. It's just to make sure that when the skirt is closed, there's not going to be any gaps to see beyond it. So I'm going to go ahead and get that in there and then finish the closures and so far I have 3 snaps in place on the waistband part, and I don't want to go any further than that. I really just want to test them and see if I like them, and if I don't, then I will give up. Okay, so I have all the snaps in. Well, not all of them. I have them like halfway done because I ran out of snaps. But I do prefer them to the hook and eyes. I just really despise hooks and eyes. Have I made that clear yet? Is that clear enough? So the snaps are in. I do prefer them. I put buttons at the top of the skirt because snaps do tend to unsnap. If too much pressure is put on it, and honestly with the weight of the skirt, even though it fits me really well, it's not too tight around the waist, it is very heavy, and so it kind of pulls at the snaps and it will unsnap them if I move too much. So I did put in those extra reinforcements of buttons at the top, which I actually do really like that detail, even though it might not be historically accurate, but the snaps are. I promise, the snaps are accurate. So eventually I'll get more snaps, I'll put them in, it'll be all good, but for now, I think the skirt is officially done-ish. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and get dressed and not have a drink beer outside t-shirt on with a 1890s walking skirt and take some pictures. Oh, good Lord, am I, what a mess. I had to destroy my room to find this sweater. And it's not time yet. Oh, man. Well, guys, I love it. It is so satisfying, and the way it swooshes is fantastic. It's just not time yet. It's just a little toasty. Also, I think my neighbors are like, who is this crazy bitch? I'm actually quite surprised at how simple this skirt was to put together. It's definitely more elaborate than a typical circle skirt, but it is nowhere near the difficulty of a bodice. And I am really satisfied. I'm actually really happy that I waited to finish this project after I did my 1950s dresses projects, because those royally pissed me off many points in time. Whereas this was actually kind of a smooth going, relaxing project. Now, it's a lot of fabric. I am glad that I got to get back to some of my hand sewing, but there were definitely points, especially like sewing the waistband to the actual skirt, It hurt my hands because the fabric was just so thick. But now that it's all put together, I definitely think I'm going to be wearing this a lot in the winter. It's so comfortable, and it's just like a big blanket that I wrap around my body. And it's appropriate to wear outside of the house. Now, of course, it is the closures that cause me the most difficulties all the time for any project. I really wish we didn't have to deal with closures, but you know, unless I plan to just wear the skirt for eternity, then, you know, it's a necessary evil. Now, the pattern originally called for hooks and eyes, which is pretty typical for these kind of skirts. But as I stated 1,000 times, I really dislike them. And so in the pattern, she also mentioned snaps, and I did have a couple left over, and I figured I'd give it a go, and I'm happy I did. Now I need to buy more so that I can finish. There's like a good 5 or 6 inches that I still need to put something on, but I am happy I switched the snaps. I think that they're not going to drive me as crazy, and I do love that button detail that I added at the top. I think it adds just something a little extra. So overall, I had a pretty pleasant experience with this project, which is strange. That doesn't usually happen. Usually by the end of the project, I'm really ready for it to be done, and this one I was ready to be done with it, but I wasn't like irritated with it, which is kind of usually what happens. You wonder why do you make sewing videos then? I actually do enjoy sewing, I just don't enjoy finishing my projects. So overall, I am very happy. I love this skirt. I want to wear it, but it's really hot. It's like 70 degrees right now, and I'm like, it's October in Oregon? What is happening? Climate change. So if you guys are interested in making an 1890s skirt but are a little worried about it, I say go for it. The hardest parts are, one, the cost of the fabric, because it is a lot of fabric, and two, the closures. If you don't look at hooks and eyes with a deep-seated hatred like I do, then I don't think you'll have any issues. And if you've already made an 1890 skirt or do make one, then please let me know. I'd love to hear about it. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Go ahead and leave a comment down below, like this video, or even subscribe. I think I mixed those up. Stay sane, stay safe, and stay healthy, and I'll see y'all next time. Oh dear God, I need to get this thing off.